A gentle morning mist blankets the quiet town, marking the final moments of a long, persistent rain. Evan waits patiently, his eyes scanning the blurred edges where the fading rain meets the morning light. Then, a mysterious figure emerges from the gloom, standing guard as if holding back time itself. Driven by an unspoken curiosity, he follows the stranger through the maze of the rain-drenched town. Lately, the narrow alleys feel like fading memories, washing away with every step he takes forward. Each time he reaches out, the figure drifts like smoke, leaving only the damp, quiet air behind. Gradually, the stranger pauses, handing him a sharp, broken shard that reflects the hidden town's secrets. When he peers into the glass, he sees a doorway behind him that does not exist here. A magical door slowly reveals itself, anchored to the very fabric of the town's forgotten, hidden reality. And then he finally approaches the threshold, realizing the truth he has been seeking all along. The soft rain returns, drumming against the wood as the day slowly winds down into deep evening. Sitting quietly, he sketches the memories of the day, his pencil moving slowly over the damp pages. Finally, the light flickers, casting long, peaceful shadows over the porch before the town falls asleep. Quietly, the wind whispers through the leaves, promising that tomorrow the rain will surely leave behind peace. And with the last firefly, the story of the man and the rain settles into a dream. The sun rises again, bathing the garden in golden warmth as the morning air begins to stir. Then, in the quiet of the kitchen, he prepares his morning tea, watching the steam curl slowly. From the window, he watches the world awaken, feeling the promise of a new day begin unfolding. Small birds sing their melodies, filling the garden with a symphony of simple, natural, everyday morning joys. Finally, he organizes his old leather bag, ensuring his maps and compass are ready for the path. The distant mountains stand tall, their peaks crowned with light clouds as the day starts to fade. Slowly, he walks along the stream, the water reflecting the soft colors of the coming twilight hour. In the deepening quiet, he stops to rest, watching the gentle flow carry his thoughts far away. When the wind sighs through the branches, it feels like the mountain is whispering its ancient secrets. As night fully falls, the stream sparkles softly, closing the chapter on another day of his search. The cottage hearth glows bright, a warm beacon of light against the encroaching darkness of the night. Then he feeds the fire, watching the orange sparks dance and climb up into the dark chimney. A low whistle from the kettle breaks the silence, bringing comfort to the chilly late-night air. Gently, he holds the shard again, its surface showing reflections of a world waiting to be found. Finally, the hearth grows quiet, and the kitchen turns to shadows, drifting into the deep night. Morning dew clings to the porch as a soft, cool mist rolls gently across the weathered timber. Then he clears the path, sweeping the dust and old leaves away to welcome the new morning. As he sits in the stillness, the morning air feels crisp and full of hope for answers. When a tiny bird lands nearby, it brings a momentary joy that lightens the heavy morning air. Finally, the sun climbs high, casting brilliant rays over the porch as the morning work ends gracefully. Golden sunlight spills into the garden, catching the leaves in a dance of soft afternoon light. Later, he plucks sweet berries from the bushes, filling his basket with the treasures of summer. Then, he inspects the shelves, neatly organizing the jars as if preparing for a long, cold winter. With every breath of wind, the garden sighs, echoing the peaceful rhythm of the fading afternoon sun. Finally, the day's work in the garden is done, and he heads home as the shadows lengthen. The stream mirrors the silver moonlight, a quiet flowing ribbon winding through the dark mountain forest. While he stands by the bank, the water's lullaby brings a deep meditative calm to his soul. Then he notices the wildflowers blooming in the dark, persistent and beautiful despite the night chill. When the stars shine above the pines, the whole world seems to hold its breath in silence. Finally, the night deepens, and he turns away, carrying the peace of the mountain back home. The fire burns low in the hearth, keeping the kitchen cozy and warm through the quiet hours. Then he records his thoughts by the lamp, the ink flowing smoothly onto the weathered paper pages. A shelf of clay pots stands sturdy, memories of long past meals and shared moments in the dark. When the moon shines through the glass, it turns the kitchen into a sanctuary of soft light. Finally, the lamp is snuffed out, and the cottage is wrapped in the gentle embrace of sleep. The morning sun melts the remaining mist, revealing a garden refreshed by the early soft light. Then he opens the wide door, letting the warmth of the day spill into his quiet home. As he breathes in the fresh air, he finds a moment of clarity in the simple morning. When the sunlight hits the wood, the porch glows with a brilliance that signals a beautiful start. Finally, the morning light fades, and he moves toward the tasks that wait in the garden. The blossoms open fully to the sun, a vibrant display of life in the quiet garden space. Then, he carefully trims the bushes, ensuring every leaf finds its place in the gentle afternoon. With focused hands, he readies the wicker baskets, gathering the day's harvest under the warm light. When the breeze stirs the ivy, it feels like the garden itself is breathing with quiet content. Finally, he walks back inside, leaving the garden to sleep under the fading hues of sunset. The stream continues its journey, a constant, rhythmic sound through the dark of the mountain night. Then he listens to the water, finding a strange comfort in its endless, flowing, liquid song. As the stars shimmer in the ripples, he feels the world open up into something vast. When the wind hums through the pines, it sounds like a lullaby for the sleeping mountain. Finally, the night settles deep, and he leaves the stream to its lonely, peaceful, endless path. The fire burns with a soft, steady glow, turning the kitchen into a cozy haven for sleep. Then, he carefully tucks away his notebook, finishing his entries as the day draws to close. With a glance at the shelves, he knows the cottage is safe and ready for the morning. When the hearth light flickers against the wall, it feels like time itself is resting here. Finally, the light dims to a whisper, and the house settles into the deep, dark night. The morning sun greets the porch with a gentle warmth, waking the world from the night. Then, he watches the garden, feeling the quiet beauty of a morning after the long rain. As he lingers on the porch, the world feels settled, peaceful, and simply right again. When the evening wind brings a cool touch, he rests, satisfied with the journey he began. Finally, the sun sets, and everything rests in the soft, quiet, eternal memory of the day.